We all want to be heard, right? We want our ideas to stick. But what's the real secret sauce? Well, today, we're going to pull back the curtain on the architecture of influence. We're talking about the hidden psychology that explains why some messages just take off and how you can make yours one of them.
I mean, it's super frustrating, isn't it? You have this great idea, and it just fizzles, while some other, maybe not so great idea goes viral. What's the deal? Well, it's not magic, I can tell you that. The answer is all in the architecture of persuasion, this invisible framework that's shaping our decisions literally every single day. So let's break it down.
All right, so here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we'll look at the architecture of influence itself. Then, we'll get into the motivation to say yes. After that, we'll tackle appealing to both the head and the heart. We'll also cover what happens when influence doesn't work. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with your very own persuasion blueprint. Okay, first things first, let's build our foundation here. When we talk about the psychology of persuasion, what does that even mean? It's really all about understanding the nuts and bolts of how minds are changed. And look, let's get something straight right away. This is not about manipulation, not at all. Real, true persuasion, it's a science. It's about ethically understanding the psychological drivers. You know those deep-seated motivations that guide how we all make decisions? It's really about building bridges with people, not setting traps.
So, okay, if persuasion is a science, then what's the first step in any good experiment? It's observation, right? So before we can even think about influencing someone, we have to understand them first. This means we've got to shift our focus away from our message and onto their mindset. What is it that truly motivates them to say yes?
This right here is probably the single biggest mistake people make. We start with our world. We get our facts lined up, we polish our presentation, but we completely forget to build a bridge to their world first. Look, effective influence isn't about shouting your point across a canyon. It's about walking across that bridge and actually getting to know the landscape on the other side. And this is where it gets really practical. I mean, think about it like this. Say you're selling a home security system. The rational trigger, that's the hard data on local crime rates. But the emotional trigger, that's the feeling of safety, of protecting your family. You absolutely need both. Uncovering these needs and triggers, that's the secret to crafting a message that doesn't just get heard, but actually resonates. And that's a perfect lead-in to our next part. Because once you get the motivation, you can start thinking about how to frame your message. And the thing is, the most powerful persuasion almost always speaks to two different channels. You've got logic, and you've got emotion. A great way to think about this is the rider and the elephant analogy. The rational appeal, the facts and figures, that speaks to the rider on top of the elephant. That's the logical, analytical part of our brain. But the elephant, well, that's our emotional core, and it is way more powerful. You can convince the rider all you want, but if that big ol' elephant wants to go in the other direction, guess where you're going? Yeah. The best persuaders, they learn to speak to both. So, take a second. Think about your own style. Which one are you? Are you the person who always pulls out the spreadsheet first, or are you the one who starts with a story? There's no wrong answer, but knowing your default setting is the first step. That way, you can consciously work on the other side to create a way more balanced and, frankly, more influential message. Okay, now it would be awesome if this was just a simple plug-and-play formula, but reality is a bit messier, isn't it? It's absolutely crucial that we talk about the hurdles, the roadblocks, the times when these powerful techniques might not just fall flat, but could actually backfire on you. I mean, you could have the most perfect message in the world, but in the wrong context, it's dead on arrival. Think about these hurdles. You might run into a solid wall of someone's prior beliefs. Or maybe there's a broken bridge of trust between you. Or hey, maybe it's just the wrong time. The big takeaway here is this. Persuasion is not a monologue, it's more like a dance. You've got to adapt your steps to your partner and the music that's playing. There is no one-size-fits-all magic bullet here. All right, let's bring it all together now. We've talked about the foundations, what motivates people, the different methods, and even the challenges. So what's the blueprint? What are the key things you should take away from all this to get better at your own communication?
So here it is, your 4-step blueprint. First, see the science. Second, find the motivation. Third, use both your head and your heart. And fourth, know the hurdles. But did you notice something interesting? Only one of those steps is really about your message. The other 3 are all about understanding the world outside of yourself. And honestly, that's the real secret. True influence is built on a foundation of empathy and awareness.
And it really leaves us with one final thought. Influence. It's a tool, and a powerful one at that. Now that you can see the architecture behind it a little more clearly, the big question isn't just how you're going to use it, but what you're going to choose to build. Are you going to build stronger arguments, deeper connections, more compelling ideas? The blueprint is yours now. Go build something.